I think we're on. I think we're on. Here we are. In the studio.
Take two.
Well, we'll call it take 1.5. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been banging on about this for ages. I finally have a podcast. And here is my very first guest. Let's get rid of that. Right, my very first guest is none other than our very special office manager, my wife, Donna. Welcome.
Mr. Russell.
Mrs. Russell.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, indeed.
How's it hanging?
It's hanging where it normally hangs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Good question to start off with. Random. We've not got a script. That was not in the script. Right. We wanted to explain why we have a podcast when we are a driving school. Right?
Yep.
So, we'll get to that. Yeah. Towards the end.
Aye. Let's
Stay,
build it up.
stay tuned to the end. That's what they say in show business, to keep people hanging on, right? So, let's go back to the beginning. How about that? It's a good place to start. 2010, I'm newly qualified as an instructor. I'm out in the town, few beers with the lads, literally a few. I didn't have much money in my pocket. And
You had no money by the time I met you.
I met you in the pub about what, tea time?
You probably did, but you just wanted to keep it for a pizza.
No, that's a good question. Did I get pizza that night? I don't know. Anyway, I met Donna. She was making some racket in the pub. I had to say, can you calm down a bit? And then eventually you bought me a drink.
Well, didn't quite go that way.
No?
You asked me if you could buy me a drink, to which I said, yeah, that'd be lovely. Patting of the pockets. I
How
thought,
would you like-
here we go.
Or would you like to buy me a drink? So I'd spent all my money, and still she bought me a drink or two. In fact, she got me quite drunk. And
He was already drunk, guys.
went out that night, dancing in life, got your number,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're here.
We're here.
We're here.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And you didn't drive when I met you.
No.
And you didn't want to drive.
Nope.
And I wanted you to drive.
I had no interest. Too scary.
That's right, you said that. And I said, no, it's not, it's fine. I'll teach you to drive. Yeah.
You said, I know a good instructor.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, give me his number.
Anyway, I taught you to drive. And it was a nightmare, wasn't it?
Aye. It was. It really was.
Uh,
We fell out many a time.
Today is, what day is it? Saturday? No, Friday. 3rd of May, was it?
Yep.
I was in the car this morning on a lesson, and a girl told me a story, and I thought this was funny. And I says to her, can I use that story? I'm doing a podcast today, and I'd love to use it. And she says, yeah. So the story goes, her two friends, this was, no, actually I've butchered it already, it wasn't her friends. It was her granddad's friends or something, years ago, a lot of years ago. Oh, I'll edit that out. Let's start the story again. It was her granddad's friends, and then both wanted to learn to drive, and they both wanted to learn at the same time as each other. So their dads were going to teach them. That's what it was. and they both had a fight with their dad. So they agreed to swap dads. It's true. So they swapped dads to teach them to drive. And they got in fine, and that was it. They went past.
That's brilliant.
Moral of the story is everyone who learns with a partner that isn't a proper instructor, they'll have fights.
Absolutely.
It's a nightmare.
Well, you were a proper instructor. You still had fights.
You couldn't take the boyfriend hat off
No.
and see the driving instructor hat.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Plus, I've got a problem with kind of being told what to do, and
Mm-hmm. Didn't take feedback too well. Anyway, eventually, this was in the manual days, right?
Yes.
And I can't remember what happened. You were doing fine. I thought you were doing all right. And then one day you said, I don't want to do it, man. I don't want to do it more.
Aye, well, I was getting the hang of it, but I still felt there's an easier way.
Well, there is.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in 2012.
I don't know.
I think it was 2012.
Possibly.
So I had to find an automatic instructor.
Mm-hmm.
There was not very many of them, one or two maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I managed to get a lesson, and you come back and said, I love that.
Yes.
That's the car I want to drive. I don't want to muck about with clutch and gears.
No.
And I said, well, let's buy you an automatic car and I'll train you in it.
Yeah.
And we went and got the wee yellow car.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put a picture up on the thing. Horrible.
Beautiful.
Ugly little...
She was so cute.
Amica, a Hyundai something. Amica C.
Mm-hmm.
Looked just like a pile of garbage.
I mean, she wasn't that far away from Del Boy's van.
Yeah.
But she was the girl version of that, I would say.
Aye. Oh, it's a horrendous car.
Oh, no. She was lovely. I'll
But
say that.
I trained you in it, you sat your test in it, and you passed.
Yeah.
So, seeing that this is a driving related to podcast,
I probably passed because the car was so horrendous that the instructor
feel sorry for you.
was like, hurry up, let's get her back. I don't want to be seen in this.
So, the test, what can you remember? I remember I had a broken back that week. And I had to cancel my lessons except take you for test.
I don't remember an awful lot, to be honest.
Nerve?
It's a bit of, oh God, I had loads of the like cams, ropes and stuff like that, whatever they were called at the time.
And you passed first time.
Yes.
Minor faults.
2.
2 minors. Good result.
Yeah, I thought so.
Can you remember your examiner? Or was I can't remember.
No. Nice man, though. Nice.
And how did it change your life going from someone who never wanted to drive, never had any intentions of being part of your life,
Oh, massively.
to then having the freedom?
Aye, it was brilliant. No mucking about with shoppings, because back then I don't think shopping got delivered to your house. So you'd have to get a bus or a taxi or you know. So then you could just I'll just pop it in the car, I'll just go for a wee drive about, I'll go and pick things up, go from this shop to that shop, whatever I want. Helped me for going to college.
I told you.
Helped me going to my work.
So you didn't
Different jobs.
You didn't know what to drive. I pretty much made you do it. Life got better.
Absolutely.
And you had that yellow car that was like £700 or something.
Aye.
It lasted a whole year, didn't it?
Aye.
In fact, was it not just a tyre or something like that? Just a tyre.
Yep.
And then you traded it in Was it the black one?
Aye.
It was
Agila.
Agila.
Vauxhall Agila.
Aye, it was a wee bit nicer.
Aye.
Yeah, it's still an old man's car, I would say.
Aye, probably.
Mm-hmm.
At first I didn't like it, but then when I realised I didn't have a lot of options, I started to like it.
I thought it was a nice car. It drove well. And can you remember, like, this is something I was wanting to ask people, like the first drive that they did on your own. Do you remember what it was? No,
I don't. It was probably something daft, like, I don't know, going to Tesco's or something. You know, just something random.
I was 17 when I passed, so, and I was still at school. So it was McDonald's drive-through, like a car full of people at free periods or lunchtime.
Aye.
McDonald's.
Just because you could.
Every day.
Mm-hmm.
And surprise, you put the beef on doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I got 2 minors as well when I first passed. Kinross it was actually.
Was it?
It was Kinross, and I think there was maybe one roundabout up there, and it wasn't guaranteed that you would get it.
Okay.
And
Well, that's a bit different.
I think it's shut down now. Shut down years ago, but it was quite a good wee test centre there. So back to our script. You don't remember the worst place, your first place that you drove. What about the worst place? You ever had any scary?
I'd probably say the worst is coming back for Greenock, going through Glasgow to get back here, and it's like 5-lane.
Yep.
Tea time.
Aye.
You've got to have eyes in the back of your head.
That's
terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're indicating, but it doesn't matter if you're indicating. Somebody's flying out at one side and somebody's flying in at the other, and you've just really got to take. And I'm just assuming they're just that used to doing it, but it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Aye.
I know what you mean. I don't enjoy that.
It's horrible. And if you've got to go across a couple of them,
I like the drive to your mums and dads, but that middle bit is just too much. It's like you're looking left and right, and they're coming for both lanes in front of you,
and sometimes they're coming for a way over and just throwing themselves. Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, you got to be on the ball there,
and they're fast. They're super. They're really going fast, and you've got like a certain amount of time to do this in before your lane's coming up, and
you got to have your wits about you.
Aye.
I like when you get past the airport and then it's on down towards Greenock, because that's a nice wee bit there.
Aye, it's nice and calm. Nice scenery.
I did not enjoy driving abroad on our honeymoon.
I didn't enjoy it either.
No.
And I wasn't driving. That was quite scary.
Yes. Remember we hired a car and went to take it from it was Corfu. So it was like the bottom left, or I should say southwest part of the island, and our villa was the northeast. So it was like a diagonal drive through the whole island. And couldn't get our sat-nav to work on the phone.
No.
And it
almost ended up in a ferry.
See if somebody's watching this and they know the answer to this. Please tell me, because I've forever wondered this. We have traffic lights in the UK with filter lights, and a green filter light overrides a red stoplight. But in Corfu they had red filter lights, and I'm like, filter means go, red means don't go.
And when you're in the front of the line, it doesn't help. You've got nobody to copy or follow.
Didn't enjoy that. Did not enjoy that.
And the wee windy roads,
aye,
going up the hills, but trucks coming the other way, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, and that's when I says to you, from now on, when we go on holiday, let's get a bus. Let's get a bus, enjoy the scenery from the airport to the hotel, and sit back.
Yeah. Well,
Right, where are we on our list? Car history. So you've had a handful of cars,
aye.
and you've had an electric car.
Yep.
The Nissan Leaf, the full electric.
That was nice.
It was a lovely car.
Really nice. No, really enough
Battery.
for me.
Mm-hmm. And you've now got a hybrid.
Much prefer that.
So automatic, hybrid, self-charging, so it says.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a gimmick.
Well, I get quite a lot out of my...
I know. It doesn't charge itself like it kind of does, but
Aye.
it's a nice car. And I've had a few cars. Yeah.
Just a few, aye.
I counted this up one day and it was like, I don't know, it was like 25. It was like 25 cars, but I passed my test in 2001. So that's about a car a year. But a lot of them was for work, so I think for work, in fact, I'm going to put pictures on the screen, just we look back at different cars that I've had, but I think I've wrote down here 5 manuals and 6 autos.
Excuse me, guys. I've got my glasses on. Aye, absolutely.
Remember one car I had, the steering wheel pretty much fell off because I kept leaning into it because I had a sore back. Well, it was time to get a new one then.
Absolutely. That was the day it all went Pete Tong for that young lad.
Aye, the guy, poor wee man, he was reversing around the corner and the wheel came off. He just looked at me with like one eyebrow raised. It's meant to do that, and I was like, "No, sir." Anyway, moving on. So, 2012. That's roughly when I started building up this business.
So, what made you want to start your own business?
Well,
Your own logo, website?
I always wanted this job. I always wanted to do this. Since I was 17 and I had my very first lesson, I knew that I wanted to do this job. I never knew how I would get there because you need a bit of time and a bit of money to get started with training and things, but I knew I wanted to do it. Funny story. Did I ever tell you about the time I worked at the bank?
You worked at the bank?
Well, I worked in the bank and I wanted to leave and become a driving instructor. I'd made my mind up.
Right.
And so I said to the manager, like, guess what? I'm going to leave the company and do my own thing. And very cryptically, she says, let's just chat next week. And then before next week came, we were all put on a bus, taken to that hotel, Holiday Inn Express, whatever it is, next to the zoo in Edinburgh.
No.
I pointed it out once or twice to you every time we're through there, about 1 million times.
Don't remember.
Buffet, spread,
Delicious.
egg sandwiches, sublime. and they basically just said, guys, we're shutting down this department and you gotta go. And there was some real sad faces in the corner from like these, people that had been in the bank for a lot of years. And then there was me.
My precious. Super happy.
You want us to leave and you're going to give us a big bunch of money, yeah? Okay. So that's what happened.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's super sad. He's that egg sandwich.
Aye. Can I take them home with me? Can we go now?
So that's it. left the bank, had a ton of money in the bank. I was young. I was single. It was actually before. Wait, timescales are wrong. 2010 we met.
Mm-hmm.
This was pre 2010. This was a year before we met, I think. 2009. I had money in the bank, time in my hands. A year of just mucking about, training to become an instructor by day, chilling at night. And then
Money ran out.
money started to run out, that's right. And then money started to run out. Got a wee job at Sky just to keep things ticking over. Met Stevie and Alan. Shout out Stevie and Alan if you're watching. Miss you guys. And then qualified, passed the final exam, and then Seven Kings to celebrate it. And then I met you. Full circle.
Brilliant.
Done. So that is how the story goes. We met to how I got qualified. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you ask me? Why did I want to build a company of my own? I'm just a control freak.
Aye. I was hoping you'd say that.
Aye, it's true. It's true. I just don't trust other people to do things when you ask them to do it and they just do a shitty job of doing it. You know?
And they just don't have your vision.
Well, if I ask a graphic designer to design a car the way I'm asking them, with my logo here and my name there and a Facebook logo there and whatever,
And a phone number.
and they come back with
The wrong phone number.
just things that were squint and somebody else's number, Jim or something, and I'm like, dude, you had one job to do. Your company does one job, and you've done a shitty job at it. So I went back and forward, and I realised, I was like, I'm going to have to do this myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I jumped onto Photoshop and made the car look like I wanted it to look. And I remember being a total Karen and speaking to the manager and like, look, please do it like this, please. And he did. And then I never used him again. They done it.
And then you changed the design as well, I think, a wee bit.
Yeah.
Later on.
That's
A couple
right.
of years later, maybe.
I got a couple of different cars and changed design a bit, and then because when I knew I could do
modified it.
when I knew I could do it, it was easy for me to do it rather than having to wait on someone to get back to you like hours later or days later or something. So that's why I wanted to do it on my own.
Aye. Here's a good one. First time you had to take somebody for a test.
Okay, so
how did you get on with the examiners? How do you?
So my first 7 tests passed, and
Nice.
7 in a row passed, and I was like, "This is kind of easy." Like, I was like, "This is easy."
Smashed it onto the
I
test.
nailed this job, you know. And then a guy, an instructor, I forget who he was, but he's a bit old in the tooth. He long in the tooth, as they say, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Long in the tooth. He said, "It'll not last, son." He says, "You'll get a run of fails." He says, "Bet your next 7 fail," and they did. He was right. Yeah. And to this day, that's how it goes. You never, you try and take the best people when they're ready, but you never know. So I think the examiners are nice enough that we have in the Fairman. I've worked with them for 14 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a couple of, in the early days, a couple of wee incidents with
Interesting.
with one of them, but it wasn't her fault.
No,
Should I say her name? No, I won't.
don't say her name. But tell the story.
Right, Chinese guy. I'm doing lessons away.
This isn't a joke, guys.
Does sound like a
Aye.
Chinese guy and his translator.
Mm-hmm.
I taught him to drive, told him the rules. Like, this was when you were allowed to translator.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're not. But I basically says, look, just don't cheat. Don't try and help your friend. Just say what the examiner says, word for word, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then this is when we were at Petrivia Road Centre. And the examiner, Eleanor, I'll just say her name, Eleanor. It wasn't her fault. Sorry, Eleanor, if you're watching this. I wonder if you remember this. It was a long time ago. She comes back with my car, and I'm like, where's my car? Where's my Chinese people? And she just says, the car's abandoned, test abandoned, your car's down at the garage in the south. Cheating was going on. And I'm sure I remember saying to her, do you speak Chinese? And do you know that for a fact? And she says, no, but I listen to what they say. And if I hear it different, and I was like, all right, okay, let me go and get them. So anyway, he runs down, two Chinese guys sitting in the back seat together now, looking at me like, where's the examiner? And I'm like, no, not today.
Oh dear.
Anyway, that was one walk back, and my only other one I ever had was Eleanor again. This was unbelievable.
Eleanor needs to start wearing trainers to her work. I hope she
I'll get
didn't
a
have
taxi
fuel.
back,
So
you know.
I hope she didn't have fuel. So that's what I can say.
I had this guy who was from Egypt, and I'd done lessons with him, and I'm telling you now, the guy was brand new. Very few occasions where you have to say to people, just book your test. You're ready. It doesn't happen often, but with this guy, I was like, man, you can drive fine. Get your test booked. Give him a couple of hints about mirrors and observations and whatever, but he's a brilliant driver.
Mm-hmm.
Day of the test comes. Eleanor, 10 minutes again, 15 minutes, she's back. But she looked terrified.
God.
Her face was white. And I'm like, Eleanor, oh my God, what's happened? And I always remember her saying to me, I mean, this was like a decade ago, more. But I always remember her saying, he is a menace or a danger to society or something along these lines. I was like, no. What? Long story short, I'm running down the backfields to get my car is doing the scythe again. He looks like he's seen a ghost. So eventually I'm like, look, what happened? Like, so here's the thing, right? In Egypt, women, the culture's a bit different. Women walk behind the men, like 10 paces behind the men. Women don't tell men what to do. The men are, in his words, the men are very much sort of, I don't know, in control, you know. And when Eleanor had started to just do her job and give the guy instructions, his mind just went to mush. He was like, I could not process being told what to do by a woman. And then I was just like, that explains why you were fine with me. Because I just couldn't understand. Like, I thought Eleanor was telling me that he was driving around roundabouts the wrong way. He was driving on the road face to face with oncoming cars.
That's crazy.
And he says that. He says I was back in Egypt mode, driving, just didn't know where I was. I was like, dude, you're in the fair, man. Rules are a bit different here, you know.
Did they pass his test?
Well, certainly not that day.
No.
But it did. So I phoned in, and I was desperate to get Eleanor to explain, like, look, here's what's happened, because she never knew that. Obviously, she never knew that.
At this point, she's moved away. Sorry, guys.
She's run. I got one of the other guys, and I explained to him on the phone, and I said, please pass this message on to poor Eleanor, because she must have got a bit of a fright, you know, and she must have been thinking, why is Gary bringing somebody like this to me when he shouldn't be there? But so anyway, he went back pretty soon after. He got a guy, which would have just been random and lucky, and he nailed it in April.
Shame.
So, worst experience with examiners, that's my two. in all the years I've worked with them, I've never had any trouble with any of them. In fact, I'm going to invite them on to the podcast.
That's a great idea.
Just for a chat. I'm sure it would be a good episode for sort of bridging the gap between learners and the examiners. I'm sure they would have like
Absolutely
lots of questions I could put to them. So, guys, if you're brave enough, come on.
definitely. So why don't we discuss lockdown and how it affected
yeah,
your
lockdown
life, your lives?
Lockdown was tough, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Not being able to work.
I wasn't allowed to do my job. I wasn't allowed to teach people how to drive. We only had your income coming in, which is a part-time.
Although I had heard for somebody that people were getting driving lessons. And
key
I
workers
said,
or something.
Aye, and I says, well, nobody's meant to be working. And this woman said, well, they're key workers. Well, no, when they're learning to drive, they're no.
No,
Maybe if they're getting a taxi to go to work, aye, but
we weren't allowed to work, and it's quite scary. And so I tried to get a wee job. I tried to get a job that I could do from home, and I found one that was text. Do you know something? I was like text support or something, or communication. I was like, do you know what? I can do that in the house. I'll just apply.
aye. It was one of the ones that it was kind of like, kind of vague.
It was super vague. For a good reason, eh?
Aye.
And so I gets to this. I had applied, and it gets to the next stage, and it was a sex chat. It was a sex chatter, man, and I was like,
You were a call girl.
I was like, well, I never took the job when I found out what it was.
Well, you say that. I found a wig and heels
The thing is,
and a webcam.
well, there's a few webcams in here right now. Where they came from. The thing is, though, it was like the pay was terrible. If I'm going to be sex chatting, I'm wanting more money than
Aye,
1 pence a day.
I know, horrendous.
So that never worked out. STV, I was on the news.
That's right, so you were.
STV got in touch with me and said, can you come and do a bit for, what it's like to be an instructor, and shout out to Henna. Who's Henna?
Henna.
She agreed to be my learner, and if I can find the footage or the picture, I'll put that up and thing. So we drove about, and I just had a bit of moan about how pubs were open, but we were not allowed to, work.
Absolutely.
But the good thing was, Cody was born, our son, and I had 3 weeks planned paternity leave, and I am sure it was to the exact day I was due to go back. Lockdown kicked in, so 3 weeks turned into 7 months.
Aye.
So that was a wee bit of a blessing, eh?
Absolutely.
And my mum and dad helped us.
Oh.
Shout out to.
They kept us afloat big time.
Aye, forever grateful. But then we got back to work. I don't know how many lockdowns we had, a couple of them. And that brings us on to how you, skip forward a few years, and
Yes.
the company started to grow, got more cars on the road, more instructors on the road, and I started getting this waiting list from, I guess, the COVID backlogs. And I was really struggling to manage this admin side of things and do the instructing.
Phone calls, text messages.
Aye.
filming.
Well, do you know what? I'd done it. I was up to date. I was managing it, but
You were never off your phone.
no,
It was constant.
No.
Try to eat your dinner, trying to answer phone calls,
it was constantly.
try to text, try to fit people in.
And then we got one day the phone pings, and it was a 1-star Google review from, what's their name? A random person.
Mm-hmm.
And this was essentially someone who had got in touch and said, I want lessons. And I said, fine, but we're quite busy. Probably going to have to wait a while. And I remember saying, could be a few weeks, could be longer before someone gets to you, but we do have your details and we will get to you. 2 weeks to the date of her getting in touch, the 1-star review goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Amongst all the hundreds of 5-star reviews,
Mm-hmm.
no 4s or 3s or 2s or 1s, just her little 1-star review saying, the company, what was it, ghosted me or something like that. Yeah,
I'll ghost you the now.
I need to cut that out.
Left, right, good night.
I might cut that out. So, okay, I replied to it. Oh, by the way, it's public. In fact, do you know what? Everyone, go and read our reviews on Google and filter down to 1 star and read this review. Because I get to reply and you like my reply.
This ridiculously entitled person
Well, hold on. Let's...
who thinks that she should come before everybody else
No, let's still get another review from her.
in the queue.
So anyway, what happened was she wasn't happy that she didn't get started because we were busy. She found another driving school who she said was better because they got started with them right away. I don't know who that was, but
And they're
well
much
done.
better than you.
But they must be much better than us for getting for having more space. Well done, guys, whoever it was.
Yep.
Good on you. Anyway, still raw.
Very raw.
But it made me realise something needed to be done. And this was exactly the time that you were going back to work after...
I was thinking about getting back out.
After when Cody was going to nursery full time. And I said, I have an idea. I need someone who can manage our admin, our office, or our inquiries or waiting list.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who can do everything that I don't have time to do anymore. It's outgrown me.
It's just too much for one person
It's-
and doing the driving lessons and making videos. And
It's not even a part-time job. It's a full-time job, that admin. And you're doing it part-time at the moment.
mm-hmm.
But you could do that full-time and still not be up to date with.
Oh, I know.
But as an office manager, you do a vital job
Thanks, babe.
because you keep in touch with people on the waiting list. That hopefully stops the need for someone, saying that we're not keeping in touch with them. And you do an amazing job filling the diaries of our instructors. And that, I think, this is the smart part of the plan. If you're an instructor with your pass and you've got Donna in the office, your diary won't be empty.
No.
And even better, you don't have to make a single phone call. You say to Donna, I want a manual on weekdays in this area. Donna will find them.
Mm-hmm.
Her job is to go and match
I'm like a sniffer dog.
a sniffer. Okay. Sniffer dog, right. So they've got access to their own sniffer dog. But honestly, I think it's amazing. So although the whole thing came from that shitty 1-star review, something nice came from it.
Aye. It was a silver lining. It was the wake up call that you needed.
Yeah. And I don't know how other companies manage without having some dedicated office staff, or maybe they don't get as many coming in inquiries. I don't know. But And this job needs to exist now. And if you were ever to leave it, that job would need filled.
Aye, definitely.
It's
Aye,
essential.
it's a massive cog in how the business runs.
It's essential.
Aye.
And it's not. It just does so many things. Like it's a support to the instructors, and it's people. And when we get people in the car, it's fantastic. It's lovely to hear what they say. They say, "Oh, I spoke to Donna. She was great. She kept me updated, and eventually she booked me in."
Mm-hmm.
So before I've even had a chance to impress them, they're already impressed with the company.
That's nice.
With what you do.
That's nice.
So it is a well-oiled machine, isn't it?
Aye, definitely.
Anyway, I don't know how or why I don't mean to boast. I'm just trying to explain how we are where we are, and how things have worked out quite well from
the
1-star review to.
Especially when I was anxious about going back out into society.
And you don't like talking on a phone.
Oh no.
And you hate computers.
I know.
But I bought you a fancy computer, and you've got a big fancy monitor, big curved screen thing.
Oh, it's beautiful. But I'm good at it now.
Turns out computers into that scary.
No. Turns out they're pretty cool.
And now look at you're on a podcast.
Well, I mean, I had to take time for all my other careers, but
how has the company grown over the years? So we've got more cars on the road. We've got manual. We've got automatic. This is what is this? May? Still May. Still the 3rd of May. We have got another 3 instructors starting this year. We've got one instructor who's thinking about switching from manual to auto.
which is pretty good
Yep.
because then it would make it 3 for 3.
But we're going to have 7 cars on the road when everyone's in. When all bums are on seat, we're going to have 7. Is that
Oh,
right?
really?
Mm-hmm. Can I say the names? I think I can say the names.
No, don't say that.
Don't say the names. Right, hold on. Well, we've got John, Jamie, me, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to have and
Hopefully.
aye, all good. Well,
Fingers crossed. Aye.
someone else gets a clause into them.
And if anybody if anybody else would like to come on board,
This is
we'd be absolutely delighted to have you.
This is a plea to anyone who is in a job that they don't enjoy, or even if you're a driving instructor with a company who's not run very well. Maybe, you want to change.
Yeah, come along to your past drive.
Give us a phone. Right, what else I want to talk about? YouTube. YouTube is growing, isn't it?
Yes.
It's growing. We have got thousands of subscribers. A couple of thousand, almost 3,000.
Brilliant.
And it is growing every day. Our videos are proven to be liked, which is lovely. People like the videos.
They're very informative.
Yeah, videos are helpful.
They've got people through their test.
People enjoy them. They're helpful. Other companies are starting to do their own videos now. That's fine. It was always going to be the case. But these are the OGs,
Yes.
These podcasts will continue to go into the same place. And once I figure out how to get these podcasts up onto like Spotify and Apple, they'll be everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But they will definitely be on our YouTube channel. So Your Past Driving on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. That's what YouTubers say now.
I know.
Give us a like, hit the thumbs up button.
Aye.
Leave us a comment.
Aye.
Share. What else we want to say? Oh, so we want to thank all our learners, past, present, waiting on the list.
Yep.
Hanging in there. We're
Yep.
going to get to you.
Yep.
Maybe. Just hang in there.
Yep. Trying really hard, guys.
Donna will get you started with an instructor as soon as possible.
But we are getting more, like you say, we're getting more instructors, so that's going to help a lot.
Going to have a couple of instructors coming in with empty diaries, meaning that they can be filled. One of the instructors is coming on with a full diary, so they won't need anyone initially.
Come and be part of the team, guys. It's a crack. It's brilliant.
Nights out.
Aye.
Shout out to Stuart. He was our instructor. He was
Brilliant
with us.
instructor.
He's a good guy, Stuart. He's
Brilliant.
going on his own. Shout out to Drive Pass Driving School. Yes. Where is it? Here it is.
Oh, the best, Judy.
We must get
Good
a night
guy.
out. I'll leave it
Absolutely.
at that. I want to also say thanks to my dad and to Graham at We Do It All Home Improvements in Rosyth. This is our studio that he built for us. And
it's gorgeous.
you can't see it all in this. I tried to do this last time, it didn't work.
We'll just make a wee video showing you different angles there, but it's really, really bra. And can I just say thank you to Janet and Alan who are babysitting, because without them there'd be nobody in here tonight doing
That's
the
right.
podcast without little man away.
Little Cody's staying at his granddad's tonight. It gives us a chance to get out and get this podcast done.
And thanks to our families for encouraging us to do this stuff. Know that it would have changed your mind. You would have done it anyway.
I was wanting to do this for ages.
Absolutely ages.
And I don't know.
You're just always moving forward, eh? You're like we train, keep going. On to the next, bigger and better.
Yes.
Absolutely. Let's
Because
build this company.
if you don't, others will, and then you'll be following them.
Mm-hmm. Get a bit stagnant, get a bit boring.
And I don't want to follow people.
You're the trendsetter.
I don't want to say I'm the trendsetter. I don't want. This might like this is way off what I'm most. And there's not like driving instructors that do this, right?
No, and it's fun and it's exciting and it's.
I want to speak to people who I taught years ago. I want to speak to people who I'm teaching now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to speak to people, other instructors. We're all friends in this game. I want examiners to come on. I want to speak to instructors from all over the world. And I teach people from all over the world. So if they can hit me up with, a driving school in Australia, let's see how things are there compared to here. Let's speak to the doctor that I done the Pass Plus course with. She's the ADHD specialist.
Yep.
That would be a fascinating
Really
chat.
Really would.
About how that affects people. Because the amount of people that have...
I'd like to be there for that one. That's a good one.
The amount of people that have either got ADHD or think they do, or and they're learning to drive. And so I think that's us. Anything else? Have we missed out anything?
No, just thanks for everybody's support.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Much appreciated.
And I hope
And
that
keep watching. It'll only get better, I'm I'm not the funny one. Keep watching, guys.
You've been funny the night, once or twice.
Aye.
Right, I think that's us. If you do you know what? We're 50 minutes in. We ran on a bit. Eh? Might cut some bit out.
Mm-hmm.
But see if you're still watching at this point, leave us a comment and say, I was still watching at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Just so that we know people actually sat and watched us. Drivel on. Because it's called driving-drivel.
Absolutely.
We drivelled on, didn't we?
That we did.
Anyway, we should really sum up.
Aye.
Right. Thanks, guys. We're out. We're out.
Yay.
Done. We've done it.